You glance at a pair of shoes online, maybe for just a few seconds. You might add them to your cart, or you might just close the tab and move on. But the shoes don't move on from you. Suddenly, they're stalking you across the internet. They're in the sidebar of a news article. They're the first post in your social media feed. They pop up in a video ad right before the clip you're actually trying to watch. It feels relentless and a little creepy. It's so specific, so persistent, you start to wonder if your phone is secretly listening to your conversations. How else could it possibly know? Well, it's not a coincidence, and you're not imagining it. This is a deliberate, multi-billion-dollar marketing strategy. And while it feels like some kind of dark magic, the reality is arguably more interesting. It's a story about a vast, invisible web of trackers, digital breadcrumbs, and clever psychology, all designed for one single purpose: to make sure you can't escape. So let's pull back the curtain. We're going to break down the entire mechanism, from the simple text files in your browser to the invisible spies hidden in websites and emails. We'll uncover not just how advertisers do it, but why they do it, and what seeing the same ad over and over is designed to do to your brain. And most importantly, we'll show you how to take back some control. That feeling is universal. You mention wanting to go camping, and suddenly you're flooded with ads for tents. You research a new laptop, and for the next 2 weeks, every ad you see is from a major computer brand. The experience is so common it's become a modern myth, usually summed up with the phrase, "My phone is listening to me." It's an easy conclusion to jump to. The ads just feel too personal, too perfectly timed to be random. They seem to know what we're thinking. But here's the thing. For the most part, advertisers don't need to listen to your conversations. They have something far more powerful and accurate: your data trail. Listening to audio would require huge amounts of computing power, not to mention the legal headaches. Why bother listening to you talk about wanting a new coffee machine when they can just see you spent 10 minutes comparing espresso makers on 3 different websites? Online, your actions speak louder than words, and every single click, scroll, and search is an action that can be recorded and analyzed. This whole phenomenon has a name. In the marketing world, it's called retargeting, or sometimes remarketing. The idea is brilliantly simple. Advertise to people who have already shown interest in your product. Think about it. Stats show only about 2% of visitors will buy something on their first visit to a website. That leaves 97% of potential customers who just leave. For a business, letting that 97% walk away is like leaving a fortune on the table. Retargeting is how they come after that fortune. It's their digital tap on your shoulder, a persistent whisper of, "Hey, remember this? You liked it. Maybe you should come back." The goal is to stay top of mind while you're still thinking about a purchase. They want to be right there when you finally decide to pull the trigger. And it works. People who see retargeted ads are way more likely to eventually buy something. This isn't just about showing you a random ad. It's about showing you a specific ad for a product you already looked at. So while it feels like you're being followed, from their perspective, they're just continuing a conversation you started. But how do they do it? How does a shoe company know to show you an ad on a completely unrelated social media site? The answer lies in the technical plumbing of the internet, a system of trackers that most of us never see. It starts with something you've probably heard of: cookies. To understand how you're being tracked, we have to talk about cookies. And no, not the delicious kind. In the digital world, cookies are tiny text files that websites store on your computer through your web browser. Think of them as a website's short-term memory. Originally, their purpose was genuinely helpful. When you log into a site, a cookie keeps you logged in, so you don't have to enter your password on every single page. When you add something to a shopping cart, a cookie remembers it for you. These are called first-party cookies. They're created by the website you're on, and they generally make the internet work the way we expect it to. But the story gets complicated with third-party cookies. These are the real key to the ad following phenomenon. Unlike first-party cookies, these are placed by a different website than the one you're visiting. Let's walk through that shoe example again. 1. You visit the shoe website, coolkicks.com. As soon as you land there, they have a contract with an ad network. Let's call it AdNet. An invisible piece of code on the shoe website allows AdNet to place its own cookie on your browser. 2. The AdNet cookie is now on your computer. This cookie doesn't know your name or email. It's just a unique ID, a long string of numbers and letters now assigned to your browser. AdNet servers now know that browser number 12345ABC just visited coolkicks.com and looked at red running shoes. 3. You leave and go somewhere else, like a cooking blog. That cooking blog also has a contract with AdNet to display ads. When you load the page, the ad space sends a signal to AdNet servers asking for an ad. 4. And here's the magic. AdNet server sees the request and checks your browser for its cookie. It finds it, recognizes you as browser number 12345ABC, and sees in its database that you were just looking at red running shoes. Instead of showing you a random ad for kitchen gadgets, AdNet shows you an ad for those exact shoes. This whole process happens through something called real-time bidding. In the milliseconds it takes for a web page to load, an auction takes place. The ad space is up for grabs, and ad networks bid to show you their ad. An advertiser like CoolKicks is willing to pay more to show an ad to you someone they know is already interested than to a total stranger. So AdNet wins the bid. This happens over and over. You go to a social media site, a weather app, another news site. If they partner with AdNet, the process repeats. Your browser is carrying around this digital beacon that announces your past interests to any network that knows how to look. However, the world of third-party cookies is changing. Owing to privacy concerns, browsers like Safari and Firefox have been blocking them for years. Google Chrome is in the process of phasing them out too, but don't celebrate just yet. This doesn't mean tracking is going away. It's just evolving. Because advertisers have another, even more potent tool, the tracking pixel. If cookies are like digital breadcrumbs you can sweep away, tracking pixels are like invisible ink. A tracking pixel is a tiny 1x1 pixel graphic embedded into a website, an email, or an ad. It's so small, it's completely invisible. You could be looking right at one and have no idea. But its purpose isn't to be seen. It's to create a connection back to a server. Here's how it works. When your browser loads a web page, it has to load all the images. That invisible pixel is an image, so it gets loaded too. For your browser to load it, it has to send a request to the server where the pixel is hosted. That request itself is a gold mine of data. When the server gets the request, it logs your IP address, the type of device and browser you're using, and the time you viewed the page, all silently in the background. The most famous examples are the metapixel from Facebook and Instagram, and the Google tag. Let's go back to our shoe scenario. CoolKicks.com doesn't just work with ad networks. It has the metapixel installed on its website. 1. You visit CoolKicks.com. As you browse, the metapixel fires, sending information directly to Meta's servers. It tells Meta, a user from this IP address and browser just viewed the page for red running shoes. 2. Meta connects the dots. And this is where pixels show their real power. Meta takes the data from the pixel and matches it to a Facebook or Instagram account. If you're logged into Facebook on that same browser, the connection is instant. Meta now knows that your specific user account is interested in those shoes. 3. You open Instagram. The next time you open Instagram or Facebook on any device, your phone, your tablet, your work computer, Meta's ad algorithm knows you're a prime candidate for a shoe ad. Because the tracking was linked to your account, not just your browser. The ad follows you from your laptop to your phone. Cookies can't do that. Pixels can. Pixels are also used for something called conversion tracking. If Cool Kicks runs an ad on Facebook, they can put a pixel on their thank you for your purchase page. If you click the ad and buy the shoes, the pixel fires and tells Facebook, hey, that ad worked. It led to a sale. This allows companies to measure the return on their ad spend with incredible precision. And pixels are harder for you to control. You can clear your cookies. But a pixel doesn't store anything on your device. It just opens a line of communication between your browser and a server. There's nothing to delete. This combination of cookies and pixels creates a formidable tracking network. Cookies enable broad tracking across the web, while pixels allow platforms like Meta and Google to link your browsing directly to your profile, creating a rich, cross-device picture of everything you're interested in. But the technology is only half the story. The other half is psychology. So we know how they do it. But why are companies so invested in this? The answer is twofold. It's incredibly profitable, and it masterfully exploits basic human psychology. From a business side, retargeting is just plain efficient. It targets a warm audience, people who've already raised their hand. That's far more effective than shouting at strangers on the street, hoping to find a new customer. There's a classic marketing idea called the Rule of 7. The principle is that a potential customer needs to see a message about 7 times before they'll actually buy something. The first time, they might not notice. The second, they might recognize the brand. By the 4th or 5th time, it starts to build familiarity. By the 7th, when they're finally ready to buy, that brand is the first one they think of. Retargeting is the rule of 7 on steroids. It makes sure you see that message over and over again. But it goes deeper than just repetition. It leverages some powerful quirks in our brains. 1. The mere exposure effect. This is a weird one. We tend to develop a preference for things just because they're familiar. The more you see that pair of shoes, the more you subconsciously start to like them. The initial interest that made you click gets amplified by seeing them again and again. 2. FOMO, fear of missing out. Retargeted ads are often dynamic. They don't just show you the product, they create urgency. You'll see ads that scream, limited stock, or sale ends tonight. That triggers a fear of missing out, a powerful driver that pushes us to act now. 3. Social proof. Many ads will include testimonials, star ratings, or a little note saying, over 10,000 sold. This taps into our tendency to trust what other people do. If that many people bought it, it must be a good choice, right? 4. Cognitive ease. Making a decision is mentally tiring. Retargeting makes it easier. By constantly reminding you of a product you already researched, it reduces your mental workload. It feels simpler to just go back to the shoes you remember than to start the whole search over from scratch. This mix of technical precision and psychological nudging makes retargeting an almost irresistible strategy for businesses. It turns a fleeting moment of interest into a sale, but for us, it can feel invasive. The good news is, you're not completely powerless. Understanding how all this works is the first step toward getting some control back. While you can't vanish completely without quitting the internet, you can take real steps to muddy the waters. 1. Manage your cookies. Your browser is your first line of defense. Go into your privacy settings and regularly clear your cookies and cache. This is like wiping the slate clean. You can also configure your browser to block third-party cookies altogether. Safari and Firefox already do this by default, and Chrome gives you the option. 2. Use private browsing modes. Incognito or private mode can help. When you use them, your browser doesn't save your history or cookies after you close the window. But be aware of what it doesn't do. It doesn't hide your IP address, and it doesn't stop websites, your internet provider, or your boss from seeing what you're doing. 3. Adjust ad settings on major platforms. Google. In your Google account, go to Ad Settings. You can see the profile Google has built for you, your supposed age, gender, and a long list of interests. You can edit this list or opt out of ad personalization entirely. Meta, Facebook, Instagram. In Facebook settings, find Ad Preferences. You can see which businesses have shared your activity with Meta through their pixel. You can clear this history and manage how your data is used for ads from now on. 4. Use privacy-focused tools. Privacy browsers. Browsers like Brave or DuckDuckGo are built to block trackers and third-party cookies by default. Tracker blockers. Browser extensions like uBlock, Origin, or Privacy Badger are great at blocking not just ads, but the invisible pixels that power them. VPN, Virtual Private Network. A VPN encrypts your traffic and masks your IP address, making it much harder for trackers to link your activity back to you. 5. Be mindful of consent pop-ups. Thanks to privacy laws, websites have to ask for your consent before placing most cookies. It's easy to just click Accept All, but take a second. Often, you can easily reject the advertising and tracking cookies while allowing the essential ones. The world of digital advertising is always changing. The move away from third-party cookies is forcing the industry to find new methods, but the trend toward demanding more user privacy is clear. By using the tools available, you can significantly reduce that feeling of being haunted by ads. So the next time you see those same shoes following you around the web, you'll know exactly what's going on. It's not a ghost in the machine. It's a meticulously designed system of cookies and pixels, all powered by a business strategy that uses psychology to turn your curiosity into their profit. It's the invisible web of trackers at work. But now you know how it operates. You understand the trick, and more importantly, you know how to manage your privacy and decide who gets to follow you online. If this video helped you understand the digital world a little better, give it a like. And for more deep dives that pull back the curtain on the tech that shapes our lives, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.